I sit there with my eyes closed and I'm still. That's not a meditative state. That doesn't define that. But most of us would believe that's what it is. So then we think, well, I can only meditate when I'm sitting there still with my eyes closed. But I got life. I got to do things. I can't meditate. But then as we dive deeper into what meditation really is, we realize, well, meditation is actually not just that. That is just the representation of meditation, right? The image that most people see, but it's not that. Meditative state is where we let go of our self. It's a state of no self. That's meditation. Have you guys ever heard the term, you can't do meditation? Because to do meditation, there's a sense of self. Who's doing? You are. So therefore you can never meditate if you are trying to do meditation. Meditation is something that happens. So when I heard this many years ago, it was confusing because it's not really explaining why, how does that work? I don't really understand. It just sounds really good, like the sound of one hand clapping. I don't get it. So then over time, I started to understand what that really means. State of no self, right? So you can't do meditation. Why? Because to do meditation, there has to be a sense of self. What's a sense of self? Right? We can call it ego. What's ego? What sense of self? You know, that voice in your head. Now, this is where it becomes the gray area. You can have a voice in your head and be in a meditative state. That took me many years to understand and to realize. I thought meditation is, well, you have to be completely silent, right? So now imagine trying to live life with a silent mind. That means everything that you're doing with your mind to try to plan, figure out, visualize, connect the dots on, all these things, well, you can't do that because if you did, your mind wouldn't be silent. So now it seems virtually impossible. It's almost like this idea of let's all strive to be perfect, but nobody ever obtains it, right? Because the idea of it itself already is flawed. So therefore, when we have our mind thinking about things, we can still be in a meditative state. But how so? Right? Because I thought meditation was a silencing of mind. In reality, meditation is not silencing of mind. It's a silencing of self. What's the difference between self and mind? They seem to be one and the same. So self means the moment when you start to think, a sense of self comes in. There's a I. There's me. But if you just observe, the idea of you is not as present.